Hello everyone, Happy New Year. I hope the first week of year 2022 has been great for all of you. Oh, I became a bit poetic there. Okay. Welcome to yet another series by QA Tech Talks community called Technology Talks 2022. So today is the first episode of the series. Um, so I'll just do a bit of introductions about QA Tech Talks. And I'm stuck. No. All right. Our vision, QA Tech Talks, is a platform where people come together to create a community with inspiration and technology talks. It's a space where people can talk, can come and experience great testing talks, a platform where people can work collaboratively and share amazing experience. And it's a space to create content and share ideas and suggestions. The community's mission is to share testing knowledge and experience to the global QA community uh, through our events, our conferences, our talks, while upholding the value of sustainability in our efforts. Um, let's have a look at a few of the initiatives that QA Tech Talks community runs. The first one is the Blogger of the Month, which is if you're not keen on talking, but you still have great knowledge to share with the community, you can start writing blogs on the QA Tech Talks community. And we announce a Blogger of the Month every month and reward and certificate, give them rewards and certificates. Another conference that's coming up for QA Tech Talks community is Codeless Conference 2022. So this conference is all about codeless test automation, um, how it's impacting the software QA in the same way as the low code or no code development platforms are. So organizations um, can come up to speed with the codeless kind of automation without having too much coding overhead. All right, so call for speakers is on for Codeless Conference. So if you've got some amazing ideas to share with the community, please come forward and share your topic on QA Tech Talks, Tech Talks website or on the LinkedIn page, and we can get in touch. There are a few trainings also that QA Tech Talks run. It's the TechNox training, which is to upskill the members of the community on various techniques and technologies. You can also opt for freelancing. So QA Tech Talks Free Your Work freelancing service helps you work at your own pace, at your own time on the business projects, and which includes web, mobile, and other things. Now, thank you to our sponsors. So our community sponsor, gold sponsor is Lambda Test, perform automated and live interactive cross-browser testing on 2000 plus real browsers using Lambda Test. Our bronze sponsor is Meteor IQS, which is quality, which works on a mantra of quality thrives as high, agility, quality, and efficiency. Our community our community donors are Test Campus, who is a well-known testing tool which helps you with the structured, transparent, and shift-left kind of testing approaches. And QATube, which is a YouTube channel um, which shares videos around various automation frameworks and many other QA-related topics. Our certificates come from our certificate sponsor called certifyme.online, and these are our various esteemed community partners: Agile Testing Alliance, Selectors Hub, Testing Tech News, TestNet.io, and Trover Testing. Um, I'm sure these are all well-known communities and companies, so make sure to look them up. So a bit of housekeeping rules before we get started. Please type your questions into the Q&A box, and we'll get to them at the end of the talk. Please feel free to use the chat box to chat and share ideas amongst yourself. After the presentation, if you want to ask a question directly, please use the raise hand button to raise your hand, and we'll unmute you. And the talk will be for 35 to 40 minutes, and sorry, 45 to 50 minutes, and there'll be 10 minutes for Q&A at the end. So any unanswered questions, if there are any left out, they will be answered offline by the speaker. You can get in touch with us in various ways. You can connect with us on LinkedIn page, follow our LinkedIn page, or Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for all the previous talks. All right, so without much further ado, let me just introduce you to the topic of the day and the speaker. So our speaker today is Kushan Shalindra, who's an expert in QA automation. He's an entrepreneur, and he has won various awards, one of which is Best QA Entrepreneur Award at the World Quality Summit 2021. Today he'll be talking to us about being a leader in test automation arena. So over to you, Shalendra.
Hi, thank you, Virtusa. So shall we start? Then I will just share my screen. I'm going to tell about more towards how we can be. So I'm going to share my experience in my journey of being a leader in test automation arena, right? So so I'm Kushan from actually from Sri Lanka. So I have more than 15 plus years in QA experience and in test automation. So my passion is more towards test automation, which I started from being a quality engineer, and I have a bit of developer experience too. So I've been a continuous contributor for the test automation community. Most of y'all might have seen my post going around in LinkedIn, and also I have contributed like 300 plus articles on test automation about various tools and techniques on how to do automation scripting, and also about the integrations that we can spice up test automation frameworks in our projects and organizations. And also I have won last year the Best Entrepreneur Award at the World Quality Summit 2021. I have been a global speaker, so last year was a great year for me. I think I have covered more than 8 to 9 sessions in India and also Brazil and other countries, basically online because of the COVID situation. And I'm a kind of an open source community contributor. So Selenium is one of the tools, Selenium based wrapper that I have introduced, which is available in Maven repository. So everyone can use it free of charge, and it's an open source tool. So, so when we come into automation, it was like started like 10 years back, and people, when automation was started, people didn't actually. It was like more of the QA engineers were towards manual testing, and little by little the organizations basically on like enterprise level, the large scale organizations, they try to utilize test automation tools, and there were kind of a positive return there was a ROI in the test automation by utilizing test automation in the testing process. So there afterwards, we saw like Selenium coming into the scene in the test automation arena because it was free and open source. Most of the people were using it, and most of the applications were web UI based. But now the situation has greatly changed. When we want to go get a QA, position in the industry, test automation is kind of a mandatory skill. Others being like performance testing, security testing. So an engineer should at least know today, if we take an engineer, they should know actually what is Selenium, how to script with Selenium, and how to create a framework utilizing Selenium and other technologies. So it's just the demands are it keeps on increasing, and it's not just some people, the management sees okay, automation is Selenium is automation. It's not the story now. There are various set of tools for various platforms, and we can see codeless tools also coming into the the test automation industry. So when we get a job, we have to look at now the organization say, okay, we need not only Selenium, we need the skill set of rest assured, APM, then even Tricentis Tosca, which is a codeless test automation tool. So there is a kind of a vast array of automation tools that a QA test automation engineer should learn. And not only test automation tools, there are other infrastructural technologies that we should learn about, how to do versioning of our automation scripts like GitHub, Bitbucket. And also we should know CI/CD, how to integrate them with CI/CD, because the end result of test automation and creating frameworks and scripting on it, the end result is CI/CD, because we have to get a we have to implement shift left testing approach where we try to identify issues occurring in new code developments at the early stages of development. So now here I'm going to talk about how I actually develop myself, which will help you all to inspire yourselves to be at the at the peak of being a test automation lead, not only in your industry, not only in your organization, but in your industry, in your country, or global. Okay, so test automation lead is not just leading a team in your company or in your project. So if you are doing that, you're narrowing yourself in your specialization, skills, and everything. So you have to excel not only in your project, but in your organization and also in your industry, your country, and also global. So everyone, if they try, so I'm going to share some key ingredients which help me to rise up, and maybe it will help you all to develop yourself, right? So first of all, everyone who wants to excel in test automation and also who wants to come into the level of an architect, a senior lead in test automation, should be a person who should always continuously learn. So as I told before, test automation is not just Selenium and using rest assured, because you all have to learn more. Because some of the organizations have their own scripting languages, development technologies that we should adapt. Now, when I was in one company, I was using Java. But when I went to another company, in my industrial experience, they said, actually, he was one of my friends, and he said that if you are coming to this organization, he was my manager actually, you can't do Java, Selenium. Okay, so because they were utilizing Microsoft technologies and they were a Microsoft Platinum partner, so I had to adapt to Selenium Selenium C#. So then I had to if I didn't learn, then I should have I couldn't take this job. So the main thing was I actually practiced not only Java, Selenium when I was an engineer, I practiced other programming technologies utilizing Selenium and other web services. So I was able to get this job, right? So nowadays we have to learn continuously, because when we see job vacancies, I know all of you all want to excel in your career. There are a lot of things. Some organizations will rely on Cypress. Some organizations will rely on WebDrive.io. They will be using a JavaScript kind of a platform. And some organizations will actually require you all to do APM in .NET. And some companies will go on to the Python stack, and they will ask, they want engineers and senior engineers in Python, Selenium and Python web services automation. So then we, as automation people, engineers and experts, we should continuously learn. It's not the thing that we actually practice for our 8 hours of work journey each day. So you have to actually invest some of your time for personal learning. So for me, I invested like at least each day like 3 hours. So I actually went through most of the blogs, internet pages, and I found, so there are certain technologies which are demanding, certain automation tools which are demanding. So I tried myself, going through them, because there are immense and lot of, technology learning material. YouTube channels are there, tutorial sites are there, freely accessible. And also Udemy sites are there, Udemy courses are there. So learning is there, but we have to put ourselves for continuous learning. So that's one of the key ingredients, that if you want to be a leader in the test automation arena, you should be a continuous person who has a passion to continuously learn. And another key ingredient for you to be a leader is to experiment yourself with new technological tools, technological infrastructure like DevOps tools that I just explained about, CI/CD tools. So there are freely available tools. There are tools with trial, facility. So just bring them up, go through the tutorial sites or information sites or sites that will help you, Stack Overflow, and try to do these things. And there are certain libraries also available. So if you are targeting yourself to be an automation architect, you should know certain things that are there. For example, a chef who is going to make a cake knows how to, deliver a cake according to customers' experience, customers' request, like the flavor and toppings and all these things. So they know about the ingredients. So similar way, if you want to be an automation architect, you should know what are the libraries there, how to extend the tool, how to extend the framework. And if, for example, say we want to do a QR code validation in our automation framework, we all know Selenium cannot do it. So then what we have to do is, we have to bring a third-party library, integrate to the code, and then extend the functionality of our test automation framework. Straight away, if we get something which is out of the scope of Selenium, we should not say no. So we have to do a kind of research and then figure out how we can achieve it. If we cannot, then we have to reason out. So the main thing is to experiment. So in your free time, try to go through certain sites and blogs and learn what are the other types of libraries available that we can actually integrate. Then you can do this. You can use Java, integrate with other, there are libraries to do image comparison. There are libraries to do this QR code validation. There are other APIs available to do, or integrate with Jira, so Bugzilla. So try to, sometimes there are test automation frameworks which will, when there's a defect, it will open up a defect in Bugzilla automatically using the Bugzilla API that is available. So these kind of things are now, happening in the industry. So you guys have to, learn about them, have them as, ingredients when you all are going to develop and design a test automation framework in your organization, right? So architect should, like the test automation architect should be knowledgeable, experience on these areas. So these are the things, one of the ingredients that we should know when we want to do have a leadership in a test automation industry or in your organization, right? Then the next one is you have to be a continuous reader. It's not just, some people in this industry just say, okay, I know Selenium Java, I know rest assured Java, I'm a automation expert. So that's not the story. So every time a new tool comes, some tools might die, some tools might, the lifespan will be there. Okay. So, but you all have to know about, continuously read and know about these tools. Okay. You all have to, participate. So when I was like doing these contributions to the community, I hosted certain WhatsApp, groups. So a lot of people, kind of join to this, engage, they share their ideas, their experiences so that others can also learn. So then what happens is like people share, okay, there is a tool called WebDrive.io, then people used to go and, do the reading. So that's how you guys should know. So you have to continuously read blogs. When you even watch YouTube tutorials, so you can join to these WhatsApp groups, okay? And you should know what are the things that are coming up. So then you can also adapt them. If there might be best practices to do certain programming scripting in test automation, so then you guys can actually, get into it and easily implement it. So new technologies are also emerging. So that's why you guys have to learn, read a lot. And as Ruchika told, blogging. It's one of the, important things when you want to lead in the test automation arena. Number one, if you don't blog, it will actually, you might grasp a technology, but you are kind of keeping to yourself. But if you kind of, distribute your knowledge and experience, people will know you. People will actually kind of respect you also. And also, you are just sharing everything. Like it's helping the community to grow. And it will also improve your language skills, everything. So try new things, okay? And blog, that's what I did. Like I started my blogging journey in LinkedIn. So my first article I blogged, I think 5 or 6 years back, but I was a continuous blogger, right? And if you are a continuous blogger, you might also get opportunities in some organizations. They came to me and they asked me to, because my articles were really good, and they asked me to blog on their sites also. So you guys will get certain freelance opportunity to blog, right? So that's how you guys can improve, and you guys can create your own brand name in the industry itself. Next ingredient, be the leader in test automation arena. You guys have to it's a good thing to participate in conferences, listen what other industry experts discuss about their experience, their knowledge, and all these things. But don't be just a listener. Try to also be a speaker, right? So 2017, I started my first speaker event in India. I visited India, Pune, for the ATA GTR 2017, right? So I spoke about robot framework, which was a technology that I used one of my previous industry. And it was not, robot framework is not, it was not just utilizing robot framework for Selenium. It was a non-GUI shell, command-based, it was, we were testing a backend process of we call it internet firewall, and there were no UI. So this was a big challenge. So what I learned, I kind of shared with the rest of the community in India. There are a lot of people. Then I didn't stop from there. So 2018, actually a nice thing happened to me. I found out in ATA GTR 2017, they awarded the best speaker and leadership award. So I figured out how I can achieve this. So this was my first speaker event 2017. So 2018, I submitted about 22 research topics, which I did during the entire year in 2018. And then I did a session in Unirest. That's a web services test automation API, which can be automated using Java, Python, Selenium, Java, Python, C#, and also in JavaScript. So that lab session was a speaker session actually. So that allowed me to, a great thing was that I got the best speaker award and also the leadership award in that conference. So continuously up to 2021, I was a global speaker for ATA GTR. And then I also went to India to speak on the Selenium Summit API conference. It was held by ATA. Then I got the opportunity to speak in World Quality Conference, Brazil's largest developer conference, TDC. Also, I was speaking on several, YouTube channels. I got invitations. So the journey continued. So because I started my journey in 2017, I got these opportunities, and people knew that from my, speaker events, my name, my brand image, my experience, my knowledge sharing grew. So I want everyone to, if you all want to be a lead in your test automation industry, you need to be a global speaker. Get these opportunities and speak on the events. Like what Ruchika told, even the codeless automation conference that they are going to have. Okay, then the other ingredient. Don't just, circulate your knowledge on a limited set of tools. Because as I told you all, there are more tools coming in, more tools that will ease the workload of an automation engineer. So you have to adapt to these tools. Otherwise, if you circulate among limited set of tools, you will be soon outdated. You won't be a lead in the test automation industry. So you all have to go research tools, automation tools on every platform. Okay, and also in automation tools that can be utilized in each languages, codeless automation tools, CI/CD tools. All these things you had to do and look into these new tools experience them. Even commercial tools, you can just download and use the trial and meddle around with it to get certain experience, because you never know what kind of challenges might come. So the new tool, sometimes companies might use Cypress. One of my friends asked me whether there are senior engineers who know Cypress. He was willing to pay a higher salary in Sri Lanka. So these are the opportunities that might you all get. There sometimes most of you all try to migrate and to get job opportunities there. So you guys have to diversify yourself into other new tools. So that's one of the key components for you all to bring here, leader in test automation arena. And the other thing is, not just yourself, you have to, create a passion for others to also learn. Okay. So in my organization, I have created a passion for others to learn. I have created each and every quarter a topic that I will give them and also support them, and also they should learn new technologies, tools, and also how to create a framework using that automation tool and do certain automation activity and do a demonstration. So that is kind of a technological initiative that I do in my organization, because that will help them to excel themselves. And also we should create and motivate them to learn, not only our industry, in the community itself, right? So you all have to create a passion where actually these people, when they grow up, they will recognize you all as leaders, right? Next is, you have to build your technology gap in you and your team. For example, you all should know what are the new tools. Go do some online examination certifications, maybe free, maybe paid ones, or you can do certain LinkedIn courses or Udemy courses, and you all should be bridge that gap. Should never have a technology gap. And also your team. So your team also in your organization, if you want to be a true lead, it's not just ordering them to do it, but you should find what are the technology gaps they have, and have a one-on-one sessions. Maybe you all can by identifying them, you all can train them, recommend them online training, or recommend courses that they should do. Maybe recommend the organization to come up with the give some finance for the people to learn. So these are the things, because automation, if we are going to do automation, we can't say that we will be only doing web UI automation. There are a lot of things that we should consider. So you should continuously learn and try to bridge this. Do not have a technology gap in your own knowledge and experience. And the other thing is, think out of the box. Every time when I usually I normally do my 8 hours work, but I used to think, what if I use this with this? What if I use this tool with another tool? What if I use this library? Or how can I connect this? How can I automate a certain activity? How can I automate a certain, if I get a kind of, for example, if I want to automate an audio verification of an audio file, how can I do it? So you have to think out of the box. You cannot stay within the boundaries, and you cannot be a leader. So if you excel yourself in this building your, going beyond your boundaries and thinking out of the box, trying to implement them and see, you're building your experience beyond others also, so that you can be a leadership. And you can sometimes, even in LinkedIn, people used to ask, hey Kushan, how can we do this? Hey Kushan, how can we do that? maybe that will also help you to think out of the box. So being out of the box player is an essential thing for you to lead yourself in the automation industry. Some of the people will set challenges, maybe your work environment, maybe in your community, right? So if they set challenges, sometimes they will say, you cannot do this, you are just a fellow, right? So one of my life experience is one guy in my industry told me that I cannot develop a tool, right? A tool that will automate. Okay. So I started myself. I took this challenge and I started. Initially, no one will be successful at the first first approach. So I started doing one tool, but it was a total failure. But again, I didn't stop. This challenge actually, then I was going through and my out of the box thinking skills. I tried to develop another tool. So finally, I succeeded, and I actually released Selenium 2.2 is there, which will actually reduce. It's a Selenium wrapper which will reduce the amount of commands that we can utilize in test automation. So I didn't stop there. You can see my actually, hold on, I will show you all my Maven workspace. You can see that this is my Maven workspace. I actually, when I was, I was working 8 hours, but during my free time, I used to spend with my small one kid. And then I used to invest my time on, R&D, research and development and everything. So I started developing kind of other utility tools which we can utilize with the automation frameworks. So these are the kind of, add-ons, libraries that I actually developed during my free time, and I made it available for the community, right? So these kind of initiatives you have to take. Now, if I take another one, is that LinkedIn. During my free time, I started, going through tools, then actually utilizing them, doing some coding. Then I used to do some R&D. So each day, sometimes my R&D work is now blocked, so that anyone in the industry can actually go through these articles and learn. These are the things that I have actually gone and coded, and again, I did some research, then I implemented it, and I have shared what are the good things and bad things. So I have started blogging everything rather than just keeping myself. The stuff that I learned on my own, I have shared with the community. So these are all the things and some of my implementation. This is a reporting that I have implemented for REST assured framework. So all these things that I have blogged is what I have learned, so that everyone can learn from me. So I'm a continuous contributor for the QA community. So that's what I told you all. So everyone will create challenges for you, even in your organizations, but then you have to accept them, try to do it. Sometimes we might not be able to, but you have to attempt. Don't ever go down when someone sets a challenge in your life, right? So in everything, another thing, when you come to the test automation, don't show everyone with a, that you know everything with a big technology. Sometimes the frameworks that you all are going to develop test automation framework should be very simple. Okay, do not use a lot of coding. If there is a library already implemented, make use of it, and do not, if the client does not require any kind of huge heavy dashboarding technologies or heavy weighted other kind of libraries, do not use them. Make everything very simple so that your team can also work on it, right? So try to find effective way of doing everything. Try to create some wrapper commands inside your framework so that others can utilize much more they can automate much more faster rate than a normal QA professional. Okay, so try to keep everything very simple. Then another good practice, as you will be blogging outside, even in the industry, even in your organization itself, blog what you have done. That will actually help you all to grow. Sometimes this will help you all in your performance review also. Okay, not just blogging, you can have tech talks. Now in my current organization also, I have encouraged my QA people to talk about test automation, talk about new QA practices, talk about other kind of infrastructural technologies, so that everyone can collectively learn this. Similar way, also document everything that you are doing in your organization. Even the framework, how it is developed, how the components are integrated, what are the framework level keywords available, what are the test automation standards that is used, how to integrate with the test automation build pipeline, how your framework can be integrated with it, what are the checklist to implement test automation, and the process of test automation. Okay, all this, it's better to document in your organization, and even not the organization itself white label stuff, but you can also contribute to the community with your new standards, documentation, and you can share it so that the people will actually recognize your efforts. Okay, so that's what I have to tell, right? So it's about, if you want to be a leader, what I want to tell is not just being a QA automation lead in your industry, in your organization, or in your project. So if you want to be a leader in the test automation arena, there are a lot to do. And these are kind of key ingredients that will help you all to, excel yourself, right? Main thing is continuous learning, keep on blogging, conferencing. Okay, you have to be a speaker in conferences, experiment new technologies, right? Accept challenges. All these is the key ingredients to be a lead in test automation arena. That's how I have grown myself during this 4 to 5 years. I have worked hard on test automation because that's the passion that I have, and I like to learn more. And I have invested a lot of my personal time to learn, to experiment, to increase my knowledge, experience, so that it has become actually a return for me in my career. So that's it, Ruchika. Anyone more have questions? Let me know.
Cool. Thank you, Kushan.
Yeah.
Let's just check. It was a brilliant talk, actually, and I totally agree with all the points that you have brought forward in the talk.
Yeah.
We should continue on learning and improving and never stop when someone says you cannot do it.
Yeah.
Anyone has got any questions? Do you want to share any resources? Like you mentioned Udemy and all. Are there any particular? All right. So Anupam has asked any tips for new QA leads?
So if we want to be a QA lead, so normally now what we have is like the test automation is a, and performance testing, security testing is a must, right? So my suggestion is that we have to now every organization, even the industry is now into automation, right? They want to automate everything so that they can cut down the time and cost. So for a QA lead, its best thing is to not just be familiar with only Selenium. We have to. It's the number one is we have to diversify ourselves, our skills. So we have to learn what are the tools there to automate. Sometimes the management doesn't know. Most of the management in the industry, they don't know about the tools. So they will ask the QA lead, hey, Santosh, this is our application, can you recommend the tool? And then also the Santosh, for example, I took an Indian name. They expect Santosh to come up with a good tool to automate. Sometimes it will be an open source tool because most of the companies, they don't invest on automation, giving a license, paying for the licenses. Some companies do it. Most of the large scale companies, they pay for the licenses because you will get tools like Tosca to automate. That will be ease the automation effort. But a lead should know the tool stack. Okay, then they will expect the lead to come up with the integrate the tool with the CI/CD pipeline. So the lead should know how this can be integrated. Some organizations wants QA to do unit testing. Then they might have to try to invest on. They should know about what are the unit testing, how to do unit testing. So then the main thing is a lead should know the tool stack, the new emerging tools, and also the standards, how to create frameworks, and how to deploy them, all these things. And also a lead should actually document everything and the process. We cannot just put a process in another company which was in company A to company B. We might have to tweak around. So those skills a lead should know.
Sure, great. I am hoping Anupam's question is answered. The next question is by Pooja, and she has asked if anyone wants to move from manual to automation, from where and how should they start?
Okay. So if now there are a lot of people, even in Sri Lanka also, most of the QA crowd here, this is a global problem where people are more towards manual testing. But now it's like the 100% manual testing, that barrier is going to move away. Okay, now automation is coming. Now most of the people find is like, okay, how to move into this? That is the question. Number one is that most of our tools, open source tools, are code based. They're not codeless. So recently even ATA had a discussion. So I did an R&D. Most of the codeless tools are expensive. Okay. So most companies in India or in abroad, right, they advertise code-based tools. So number one thing is you have to be familiarized with the, you have to go through the market. What are kind of tools? You can talk with industrial experts and ask what are the, automation tools that are popular. What are the most used tools? What is the most used language? Okay. So nowadays still Python is coming up, but still Java is there. So number one thing is that you should be familiar with Java. You should be familiar with Java object orientation techniques. Okay, you should go through tutorials and you should get familiar with the foundation of it. Then you should know what is what is test automation? What can be automated? What cannot be automated also. Some tools have limitations also. Then next thing, learn in Java, have a basic experience about the test automation, the process of test automation. Then how to, what are the key things now? First of all, when we start test automation, the blueprint is manual test cases. So we have to make sure that manual test cases are up to date. Some organizations, some projects, the test cases are very outdated. So you have to actually know the manual, you have to refine the manual testing. Then languages, the language, then the process, how to, what is the general process that the companies take when they are trying to automate. Then the next thing is you should be familiar with the tool, go and read the main tool site and see what the tool can do, what cannot do. Then the commands, the API that the tool gives. That is the command, the methods that the tool has implemented to automate. Okay, then start the basic scripting. Go out with some tutorials. Even if you can go through a course, then go do some basic automation, take some demo sites, try to automate them. If you have problems, the main thing is get that error and paste it, and you will get the Stack Overflow page for that particular problem. Try from the highest rank solution and go little by little down, so that you can solve these issues. Or you can go to certain WhatsApp groups and get enrolled to these groups, and you can also post. I'm in certain WhatsApp groups. I see some people, post queries, and some people gives the solutions, so that it will be a continuous learning. Then try to do a framework implementation. So that is how you start your automation journey from manual to an automation engineer.
Great, thank you. Next question, I guess we can just take one or two more. How is geranium? Is it geranium or gelanium? How is it different? Sorry?
Gelanium, yeah.
Gelanium. How is it different from selenium? What are their pros and cons?
Actually, gelanium is it's based on selenium. Okay, most of our tools are based on selenium. Only Cypress, we have a separate execution engine, but selenium uses a browser API to do the execution in a web. It's basically a web UI automation. So gelanium is a kind of a wrapper tool which is developed by me, which will wrap 2 or 3 or 4 commands inside, which is used in Selenium inside Gelanium, so that it will actually reduce the effort that goes for a Selenium automation engine to work. So currently, Gelanium's only the bad point, as a developer, I have to say I have to improve it more. Edge automation is not happening, but Chrome and Firefox, Safari and Edge is not working still because I have to improve on it. But Chrome and Firefox, it's happening. And it has also integrated certain libraries inside Gelanium itself, like, certain dependencies that we use. So even the driver download, it is happening inside the Gelanium tool itself. If we take Selenium, we have to have the dependencies separately, right? So most of these libraries, even report generation, we might have to have a library separate and coding. But in Gelanium, reporting is inbuilt. This one, data-driven, is inbuilt. So that will reduce the effort for R&D for an engineer too also, and it will quicken the framework development process, because some of the core components in a framework are already integrated with Gelanium API. That's it, Ruchika.
Great, thank you. We'll just take one last question now, and we'll sign off after that. Any other questions that are left off? Maybe Kushan, you can take them offline.
Sure.
All right, so let's take this question. You were talking about robot framework.
Yeah.
I have implemented a robot. So this is from Chitarat. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Chitarat Bhargava. You are talking about robotic framework. I've implemented robot framework scripts in my project. Please suggest any helpful blogs that will help to excel more into it.
Okay, so helpful blogs. You can actually, most of the information about robot framework actually is in the robot framework site. Okay, so when you go to that site and if you go through the library section, if you click on certain libraries, you get the documentation. And they have very well done documentation where certain keywords, because it's a keyword-driven framework. At the back end, it is implemented with Python technology. So you can actually go through this keyword documentation and read about it. Apart from that, you can go to the YouTube tutorials, and you can actually glance them and see how to do it. But the main thing is robot framework, the additional libraries, the resources are a bit less, but the documentation that is provided inside the library itself, because all these library integrations are not done by one developer. It's a collective set of collaborative developers who are developing the libraries. So the main thing is you have to go through. For us also, when we did the project, it was not the Selenium one. It was totally our shell scripting. We use shell scripting and we use logging facility inside that. So all these things we went through the keyword guide that is provided by Robot Framework for each of these libraries. So it's a bit limited compared to Selenium. Robot Framework documentation is a bit limited, but there is this. You can get hold of the. I can't remember his name. He's the main contributor for the Robot Framework. So you can get hold of him. And there is this GitHub page for the Robot Framework. You can continuously communicate there. If you have any problems and queries, they will be much obliged to reply. So what I have suggest everyone who is engaged in automation to have a Stack Overflow account, because whenever you have problems, you can communicate through Stack Overflow and you can find solution, because there are a lot of experts connected to that that particular domain. That's it from that's the solution that I can give.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks, Kushan, for your brilliant talk and amazing tips that you shared with the community. I'm sure everyone will be benefited by this talk. So that's it for tonight, guys. Do remember that Kushan will take all the rest of the questions offline. So yeah, don't forget to follow QA Tech Talks for more events that we are running. Please make sure to submit your talk if you've got any topics to share for the codeless conference that we have coming soon. And we'll talk to you soon again with another topic. Bye-bye.